Hey Joe fans, got another cool custom for you. It is from toygear.com. It's the new foam action figure collector trays. Perfect way to display your vintage or modern action figures. And this particular set that I'm looking at today is going to be the G.I. Joe edition, which includes a bunch of the exploding background pieces of artwork backing for your Joe figures. And each order comes with one of these retro style pamphlets, because it's always cool getting a pamphlet with pictures of other products available when you buy something cool. And it also includes this info sheet from toygear.com with general tips on how to display it, how to store it, care and maintenance, and along with some instructional guidelines on the back on how to cut it, install it, and display it. So one of the major challenges for collectors is not just collecting their items, but where to display them. Space is often a problem, and sometimes people collect a lot of cool things and just don't have anywhere to put it.
I will not tolerate this.
Well, you won't have to anymore, because these trays are a great way to display a whole bunch of figures vertically instead of spreading them out all across a shelf. The paper that the backings are printed on is really high quality. Very nice gloss to them, and they're quite thick too, so they won't be easily dented or creased. And the foam trays themselves are really awesome. They're very light, but very sturdy. It's a really great combination. They're made out of an extremely high quality cross-linked polyethylene foam that has a lifespan of over 30 years. So you don't have to worry about this foam breaking down like on the Death Star trash compactor. It doesn't give off any gas, and it's completely inert, so it's not going to harm your collectibles in any way. And the backings also go through a special lamination process, so that they'll stay glossy for a very long time. What's most surprising to me is how sturdy these are despite how light they are. You can give them a good whack and they don't feel like they're going to fall apart. There's currently a couple of different options on the website for different size figures. There's a 4 compartment, 8 compartment, 12 compartment like this one, and a 24 compartment. This particular one is the perfect size for vintage style G.I. Joes. They fit in there great even with a stand attached, with plenty of headroom and room for posing too, so they don't have to just be straight up and down arms. You're going to have to cut the backings yourself, so a good old-fashioned pair of scissors is required. And there are these very subtle little dot lines for you to follow when cutting. Personally, I prefer to use something like this, a paper cutter, if you don't have something like Excalibur handy. Or if you have a buzzer handy, you can use this chainsaw, but that might take a while. A paper cutter is your best bet for getting a nice even cut every single time. Once you have all the individual backings cut out, you just insert them into the foam tray. Now, depending on your cut, some of them might be a little tighter than others, some of them might be a little looser. My cutting wasn't perfectly precise on all of them, so a few of them fit a little tighter, some of them are a little looser, but they still all stay in there very well. And if you didn't get an even cut on your backings and you get one that doesn't fit, just try it in a different spot. Once you get them in there, if your cut was close enough, they should all just stay in there. No need to glue them in or sticky tack them in or anything like that. If you get one that falls out, just pop it back in. And even the loose ones do a pretty good job of staying in when it's standing upright. The only issue is when you bend it forward, and you're not going to be doing that because your figures will fall out too. Now that we got all of the backings in, let's put in the G.I. Joe figures. And for this particular display, I'm going to put in the original Joes. And I think that looks amazing. There's just something about that classic exploding background behind a G.I. Joe that looks so fitting. The figures are fantastic on their own, but having that exploding background behind each individual Joe, that just makes the whole thing really special. And I love being able to stack them on top of each other as well. Most of my figures are displayed en masse all across a shelf, so it's really cool to have them actually going vertically up above each other. It looks more like a poster or a sculpture.
But that doesn't change the fact that they've gone AWOL.
Literally, a wall of G.I. Joes.
But they've got thousands of hostages in there!
Oh, come on, stop exaggerating. It's just a dozen Joes, and they're not hostages. They're beautiful display pieces now. So even though you're not supposed to be doing this when all of the figures are inside, I want to show you how sturdy this thing is. You can actually ever so carefully pick it up and move it around, and the foam is so sturdy that the figures won't fall out of it.
We can't let them shake us.
Not with these foam displays. The classic exploding backgrounds look fantastic with the older Joes, and there are different backgrounds available as well. There's the digital exploding background for the 86 and beyond Joes, and the Battle Force 2000 digital background. If you're a fan of Battle Force 2000 figures, this is the best way to display them with their own individual exploding backgrounds. And they look good for other figures as well. I think this color scheme actually looks great for the Dreadnoks.
Oh, look at what the cat dragged in!
I think it's perfect for Zartan and his gang because there were 11 original Dreadnoks, plus Nagahide's boar, making them a dirty, filthy, nasty dozen. And these stands also perfectly fit the modern figures as well.
Let's see what's on this top floor.
Once again, plenty of headroom, even with the stands on, and enough space on the sides for them to do poses in their little compartments. And no worries if you don't have stands for your figures.
So what? We don't need them anymore.
That's right, even though it's foam, it's sturdy enough for the figures to stand on it like a regular hard surface. It's a fantastic way to organize and display your figures.
Might help keep some discipline around there.
That too. So if you're interested in picking up some of these foam displays for your G.I. Joe, Star Wars, He-Man, Turtles, or wrestling figures, head over to toy-gear.com or click the link in the show notes below. Have a great weekend, everybody. Yo Joe and Nerdmaste!